because Serie B is it's a wild league and a lot of things go on. So
it's a wild league. Well said. And I'm sure we'll have a lot of. We're gonna laugh a lot about our predictions.
Guaranteed to be wrong. Let's just
absolutely 100%.
Cittadella are the only team in Veneto for this season because Vicenza failed to get promoted. Venezia went up to Serie A.
I would be happy with Carrarese and Reggiana being last and second to last. We are going to be touching upon each and every one of the teams on the league, so stay with us, interact with us, and together we're going to be speaking Serie B. Roma! Welcome to another episode of Speaking Serie B, 23rd episode of Speaking Serie B, where we share our thoughts and impressions about the most recent round of the Serie B League, of course, and we make our predictions on the upcoming round. This program is the result of the collaboration with Jake Iovine of Città Calcio USA. So let's welcome the co-host of this program. Welcome, Jake.
Yeah, thank you, Ilya. I have to say right off the bat, congratulations for the big win on Saturday. It was, you guys did the double over Cittadella, 5-0 in the Andata, 2-0 in the Ritorno, the second leg. So, well done to you guys. It was I guess we'll talk about it, straight away. But yeah, it was definitely a professional performance from the Aquile.
Thank you. It didn't go that well last season, so this is a good time. We had a lot of difficulties, so now is our moment, and it's a cycle. It's a good time. So yes, it was not an easy game, although Spezia is in great shape physically and mentally. But as we said in the previous episode of Speaking Serie B, we were saying that Cittadella was one of the, under the 10th position, one of the teams that was in better shape. Together with Reggiana, they only lost 2 games. They won 2 and draw 1, if I'm not mistaken, prior to the game with Spezia. So they did end the 2024 in a very difficult way, but they started the new year on the right foot, so it wasn't so easy. And although yes, in the first half of the game Spezia was dominant, I would say in the second half, maybe because Spezia started to relax based on the double advantage, il doppio vantaggio, the 2 goals that they were leading by, or maybe because the coach of Cittadella made some changes. The number 7, what was the name of the
Pandolfi.
number 7?
Pandolfi, yeah. Pandolfi,
Pandolfi played really well. So things changed in the second half, and we actually witnessed a nice game. So what are your thoughts about it, Jake?
Yeah, I mean, Pandolfi definitely, he had 2 big opportunities to score, should have scored from that position. One was like really early in the second half. So if he had scored that, it's game on, it's 2-1. But on the flip side, you could say Spezia also missed some opportunities. Lapadula, he missed, 1 or 2 really, or 2 actually, like really golden chance you would expect him to finish it, a striker of that caliber. So it was definitely, both teams, I think, had the chance to score, but, at the end, it was a very deserving win from Spezia. Like I said, in the first half, it was all you guys. It was all, dominant. Cittadella had not really created much in the attacking. And we had a podcast last night with Enrico Leo. He is a journalist for Gazzetta and Padova Oggi. We were talking about the game as well as previewing the upcoming match for Cittadella in Pisa. But we were saying that this game kind of was like the last home game against Mantova, which was a 2-1 defeat. Very similar. Cittadella, first half, not doing so much. Then they go down 2-0, and then all of a sudden they start to kind of wake up. They ended up scoring in that and kind of making it a close game. But at the end, they couldn't, get. But it was very interesting that, they needed 2 goals to really, wake up and to kind of start performing. And, I don't think it's, listen, it was yes, it's another home loss, but you're playing against third place team, one of the best defense actually in the league.
The best defense in Italy, not only of the Serie B, but also of the Major League. Nobody conceived as little or as few goals as Spezia did this season so far.
Yeah,
So,
and
yeah, it is,
yeah,
it's a
yeah,
reality.
and so this is the start. One of the first of 3 games Cittadella has a very tough schedule. Like I said, they have Pisa this upcoming weekend, and then the following weekend they go away to Catanzaro, which we've talked about many times. Does not like to lose, and it's a long road trip. So these are interesting games, and also it didn't help that the most of the teams below Cittadella won, so the gap closes a little bit as it was just last week. So. Like we said, still long ways to go in this league. And
you did mention La Padula and the occasions that he had, but great goalkeeping by Maniero, who wasn't even the starting goalkeeper. So solid performance by Maniero. And yeah, in the second opportunity that La Padula had, he should have at least, center the goal. Instead, with a header, he just put it outside. But it was the first performance with the white jersey, so it's just right. We're very hopeful. We have a lot of confidence in him, and let's not forget that the second goal was an own goal. So Ciccizola, our goalkeeper, kicked it directly into the other end, launching basically Arkadiusz Rezza, who didn't give up on the ball, but the last touch was from a defensive player. So
yeah.
We don't believe in luck, or at least personally, I don't believe in luck or unluck, but, we positioned ourselves to allow the defense to make that mistake, but we didn't even have to score the second goal because it was due to, a touch by the defensive line that made a mistake.
Yeah, it was kind of a weird goal. I mean, Ciccizola just kind of sent it long. It bounced over Capradosi's head, and then Carissoni tried to clear it, but then it, just looped over Maniero's head, and that was kind of it. But yeah, like I said, first half all Spezia. Cittadella played better in the second half, but really I don't think it was enough to at least get a draw. And probably in the contrast to the Mantova game, the last home game for Cittadella, I think Cittadella definitely deserved a draw. But in this game, you could say that Spezia were just the better team, and they deserved the victory. So yeah, that was a big win for you guys, and let's see what Cittadella could do in Pisa. Maybe we could do you a favor. It
would be great. It would be great because, as you said, it was an important win away for Spezia. We keep on flying, but they do fly even ahead of us because we did win, but Sassuolo and Pisa both won. So this is the current situation with the standing. Go ahead.
But Cremonese did lose to Salernitana.
Indeed. So we do extend the gap. Exactly. We do extend the point, as we see here. And Sassuolo is leading the table. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. I just want to add, and like we've said many times in the past, like if the gap between the third and fourth place team is 14 points or greater, then the 13th place would go directly to Serie A, and no playoffs are being made. So there is still a chance for Spezia, even if they can't reach Pisa and Sassuolo. They have to watch below them because I didn't think it was a genuine possibility at the start of the season, but they are really if they continue doing this, then yeah, it's definitely possible.
I totally agree with you. I did not see it happening. Basically 15 points, more than 14 points, that's 15. It's genuinely difficult, but it's no longer impossible, at least. It never was impossible, but it was very unlikely. And at this point, it's more and more doable since, as you were highlighting, the gap is now of 11 points. So there are very few points that are left to be made by Spezia to widening the gap compared to those that have already been scored. So it is a possibility. And let's not forget that the last game of the season will be Spezia Cremonese in La Spezia. So that would be poetry. So this is the standing at the end of the 24th round. Sassuolo leading the chart in first place with 55 points, followed by Pisa in second position with 53 points. And in the third place is Spezia with 48. Then a step below in fourth place, as we were saying, Cremonese with 37 points. In fifth place, Catanzaro with 35. And then Bari and Juve Stabia with 33 points, respectively, in 6th and 7th place. Then we have 3 teams with 30 points, Palermo, Modena, and Cesena in 8th, 9th, and 10th place. Let's remember that after the upcoming game for Spezia in La Spezia with Palermo, Spezia will be facing Modena in Modena, and the Canarini are in pretty good shape, as we can witness from the standing. Then in 11th place is Brescia with 28 points, together with Reggiana and Mantova in 12th and 13th place. And then with 27 points, Carrarese dropping like a rock in 14th place, followed by Cittadella with the same amount of points, 27. Then we have Sampdoria, Südtirol with 25 points in 16th and 17th place. And then Salernitana all alone with 24 points in 18th place. And then Frosinone with 21 in 19th place. And Cosenza dead last, unfortunately, for the Wolves. 20th place, 18 points, 4 losses, only 1 draw, 3 consecutive losses for Alvini's boys. Jake.
Yeah, well, like I said, this was just not an ideal weekend for Cittadella because Samp, Südtirol, and Salernitana all picked up 3 points, which closes the gap to 2 points. Like I said, Cittadella were never out of the woods with that 5-point gap. I still think the points they have to get for the Salvezza is probably 44 or 45. So that's like 6 wins from now. 6 wins in the last 14 games. So that means they have to win just a little half their games, right? So.
Yeah, I mean, drawing counts, and if you're winning, it means that somebody else loses. So it's point that you're taking away from potential opponents, from potential rivalry for the same position. So
yeah, and I will say that the big result this weekend was the Carrarese Brescia win. Brescia had not won since November, I think it was. And finally getting that win against Carrarese, who have now dropped 4 straight games. So they are kind of dropping down the table. It was only like a few weeks ago where they were in 8th and in the playoff positions. We're thinking, oh my God, they might pull off a Südtirol or Catanzaro like they did a few years ago. But now they are 14th, and really they've got to be careful. What else up the table? Yeah, like I said, Catanzaro, Cittadella's next opponent. So 2 games from now, Cittadella travels to Catanzaro, who've only lost 3 games this season, which is quite incredible. A lot of draws, but that just shows you how difficult they are to beat this season. And Cremonese, which we'll get into a little bit, but this is just what we were been kind of saying, like just the inconsistencies, losing to Salernitana in Salerno this weekend. So that does not help their case at all. So yeah, that's kind of all I have to say.
Yeah, Carrarese getting a bit of a reality check, and now has to reassess their expectations for the current season. Without further ado, before we get into checking our results and making new predictions, let's remember who is listening to us now, where they can find our content and how they can start to follow us. All the links to our various platforms, as you're seeing, are in the description, but let's hear it. Go ahead, Jake.
Yeah, Cheat the Culture USA, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. You can find us there, and cheatthecultureusa.com. You can find articles, news, all that stuff. So go check it out.
Awesome. And as far as I'm concerned, you can find most of our content on YouTube. We are also on TikTok and Instagram, both as Elia the Italian Guy and the Speziato content related to Spezia, of course. So let's share the results of our predictions. And I wanted to do it in a way that I'm not giving away the result right away. So we'll start with these. And here you go, Jake. You should be able to see it. I'll give it away right away, of course.
No problem.
Palermo
But we
Pisa,
did-
if you
we
want
did
to
really good.
start.
We did really good on this round. Palermo Pisa, Pisa getting away win. I do get a point for this. I was off the bat really right away. 4 straight points for me. Elia, I would like to ask you about this game because during the live of Cittadella Spezia, you said this was quote unquote from the, what is it, Ufficio Inchieste, I think, or from the
Ufficio Inchieste, yes.
Why do you say this, and why do you think this was a conspiracy?
No, okay, look, I'm happy you're asking me this question, but I thought you didn't enjoy this subject, so I don't know why you're inquiring.
No, I'd like to know. I'm curious, and I don't know. What's your thoughts on this quote unquote Ufficio Inchieste?
Ufficio Inchieste, yes. There is a lot to ask. There are a lot of questions we should be asking ourselves when you see a game like the one we saw between these two teams. We saw Pisa getting a penalty, and Palermo actually didn't get one. And then the dubious circumstances under which Pisa scored the second goal. So, everybody should make up his own mind, reach his own conclusion, no matter what is the subject matter. But, ask the right question everything. Don't believe anything and question everything. That's my one of my mottos. So, yeah, I didn't watch the game. I was actually working, and I received texts from the various group, and they say somebody wrote Palermo Pisa da Ufficio Inchieste. So I did something that I don't do. I went to see the highlights, and I said, "Oh man, come on!" But again, reach your own conclusions. Go see the highlights. Make up your own mind. And some dubious result the way it unfolded. Let's leave it there.
So I want to ask you, because what happens on the other end? Because I remember back when Spezia were in Serie A, when they played Milan, what was it, like in 2022, where there was a goal disallowed, while the referee blew his whistle right when the goal was scored, and then Jassy, I think, scored on the last minute against San Siro. And what is that from the Inchieste or whatever?
I don't know if it was Jazzy or Agudelo. It doesn't matter. I don't remember, but I know exactly what you're talking about. No, the scary part is not. There was a goal that got disallowed for Milan after. So basically, there was a kick. There was a penalty outside the box because there was a foul. Thank you. And you could tell how eager the referee was to give a penalty to Milan right outside the box. So he whistled as soon as he saw something, not realizing that the conclusion actually ended in a goal for Milan. And then if you go to see back all the close-up replays, there was an ex-player, Soldatino Di Livio, who actually said, guys, this is actually a fault for the defense. It's not even a fault for Milan, because the guy who kicks toward the goal actually hits the leg of Bastoni, if I'm not mistaken, before even hitting the goal. So not only the goal should have been disallowed, as it has been disallowed because the referee blew the whistle, but it was also a fault that wasn't for Milan. It should have been for Spezia defense. But what is more astonishing is not that they disallowed the goal, is that never before in history a referee felt the need to apologize to Milan for the mistake he thinks he had made. Come on, guys. I mean, this is sudditanza psicological. Let's not go there. Let's avoid the conversation.
All right.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
All right. Well, thank you for that inquiry about the Palermo Pisa match. I just love to hear different opinions, and
of course,
it's easy to say it when you're chasing the pack and chasing Pisa in the standings and need them
yeah.
But maybe they'll drop points to Cittadella. We'll see. Anyway,
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, sudditanza psicologica means psychological subjection. That's all. Just because I wasn't making myself clear.
well, let's
Go ahead.
move
Go
on.
ahead.
Let's move on to
Yes.
Catanzaro Cesena. This was a goal fest down in Calabria. We both agreed on this, getting Catanzaro the victory, so point for us each, as well as another point for us each. Sampdoria finally winning for the 14th time of asking, finally getting the win, even down to 10 men. They were able to get the win at the Marassi against Cosenza, where, you have to think that maybe the end is near for Cosenza, because they have just been in free fall at the moment, and losing to Sampdoria, which have not won since October, is a really bad thing for Max Salvini and co. But we both
And let's point out that probably, if I remember well, we did reach this conclusion on our predictions, not because we saw Sampdoria in any kind of shape, but because we saw Cosenza in a very difficult position, a very difficult condition.
I didn't see where this win was coming from for Cosenza. But Cittadella Spezia, we both agreed on the results. We both get a point for that. But Elia, you beat me to Sassuolo Juve Stabia. I thought this was going to be a draw, but man, this really kind of broke my streak. I would have gone 5 in a row if I had got this result. Sassuolo winning also under maybe some controversy, because there was some Juve Stabia scored 2 goals which were disallowed.
Oh, you're really booking me, man. Seriously, they disallowed 2 goals for Juve Stabia. Come on, I don't know. I didn't see it. I actually thought it was only 1 at the 8th minute, and then I saw it took 3 minutes to disallow it, and then they told me, look, they actually disallowed 2 goals for Juve Stabia. So I don't know. I don't want to know. I just want to enjoy the game and the content we create, because if I go too down the rabbit hole, I'll never get out. All I want to point out is that I am happy that finally I was able to share a prediction that was based upon what I actually thought could happen in the game, no matter how the result was getting influenced, but not based on the need of Spezia of catching up points. Like, I was hoping that you would have been right and that Juve Stabia actually drew this game, but I assume that Sassuolo, after losing in Spezia with Spezia, was simply too much for the Wasps. Is that you call them? The Wasps?
Yeah.
Wasps. Yeah.
So, Modena, Mantova. This was kind of a derby, I think, but Modena winning in this game. Ilya, you do get 1 point for that. Carrarese, Brescia, we both thought it was going to be a draw.
Modena, sorry, Jake. Modena is really launched, seriously. It's a difficult team to play against lately. I think they are in 9th place together with Cesena and Palermo. So they are going to be a difficult team for Spezia. And now we got to think about Palermo. But 3 draws, 1 win, and only 1 loss. Modena is picking up momentum, I would say.
And then Modena, after Spezia, they do play away against Cittadella. So,
there you go.
That'll be a difficult game. Carrarese, Brescia, like I said, we both agreed on a draw, but Brescia coming out victorious on that game. Below that is Südtirol Reggiana. I did predict correctly. Südtirol getting a win. It was a important win for them. They've been playing much better since the winter market. Salernitana, Cremonese. This was probably one of the shocks of the weekend. Salernitana beating Cremonese at the Arecchi. I thought it was going to be a Cremonese win. You thought it was going to be a draw. This is the inconsistency we've been talking about for Cremonese. They have a lot of potential in their squad, a lot of potential for their team to make a push for Serie A, but they keep losing games or drawing games that they should not be losing. So this was definitely another lost opportunity for Cremonese. We're now 11 points.
Of which I am extremely grateful.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't really help Cittadella, let's say, because Salernitana closed the gap. Bari, Frosinone, the last game. You do get a point for this, another one, for predicting a Bari win. So this leaves us at 6-5. You do close the gap by 1 more point. This was one of our better rounds.
Indeed, I think you still detain the record of points scored in one single round, and it was 7, and this is as close as I've got. So our average does improve, still remains under 4 right prediction per round, but getting better. So now you're leading at 93 points, and I'm following at 92. So our standing is closer than ever, probably, and
This is quite a
it's
title
still
race.
open.
This is a
Yeah,
title race.
I don't know
Like,
for what title.
it's like Sassuolo Pisa fighting for the first place.
Right. Anyhow, so let's start with the prediction of round 25. Brescia Salernitana. We saw Brescia winning the last game. If I remember well, we just said it. We just saw it. And Salernitana winning at home with Cremonese. So they have to change pace. I really wish them well. But we are going to be playing in Brescia. How is Brescia performing at home, Jake? How many points did they score at home?
Well, they finally won against Catarese away, which, got that win after, November. At home, let me see. They have not won at home since beating Cremonese on the 30th of September. So it's been a long time.
Wow. So la legge dei grandi numeri, they should be able to win this one, but Salernitana can't keep on. I'm going to start by playing it safe. I'm going to say X between these two teams.
This may be a potential to be a biscotto match, because do you agree? Because, both teams kind of are in need of points and they would be okay with sharing it. So this has potential. I'm not saying it will. It has potential to be.
It has potential, although Salernitana doesn't really need 1 point. I think for Salernitana it's important not to lose away. They would be happy with 1 point just because they're playing in Brescia. But they really need points to get out of that uncomfortable situation at the bottom of the table. Well, and Brescia doesn't really need a draw. They would need to win to keep on, fighting for the playoff spots, which they reached last season, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yes, 7th place or 8th place, I think it was 8th place. Yeah. This is interesting because Salernitana have 2 big games coming up against Brescia and Catarese, both away. And if you continue that, they have at home against Frosinone later. So really 3 direct clashes in this relegation battle. This is interesting to say because in the return leg, I remember Salernitana Brescia. This was it was a brutal game to watch. 0-0. It was not good. So I don't know if it'll be better this time. But I'm gonna do something strange. I'm actually gonna predict a 2 here. I think Salernitana is gonna pull it out.
I didn't see that coming. Okay, cool.
Yeah, so 2 really bold predictions to start this series.
All right, Frosinone Catanzaro.
Oh, I'm up. Frosinone Catanzaro. Yeah,
this is difficult.
Frosinone is another team that's just in downfall. I mean,
Mamma mia. 3 losses, only 2 draws in the last 5 games, and Catanzaro is really launched even this year. 5th place, 3 wins, 2 draws, so undefeated in the last 5 rounds. So,
yeah, I see a Catanzaro win. I'm going to put another 2 actually, and I don't feel confident about Frosinone right now. They did make some signings in the last moment on deadline day, so maybe that will help them, but I still think Catanzaro is going to pull through.
I don't disagree with you, but hey, Frosinone can't keep on losing. Are they really going to go to, the double drop from the major league?
It's happened before. Most recently.
Look, for the sake of our game and because Catanzaro drew a lot, I'm going to predict my 2nd consecutive draw. So you 2 wins away and me 2 draws, and we'll see what happens. So Frosinone Catanzaro X.
Okay.
Pisa Cittadella. Oh, mamma mia, Pisa Cittadella. So Cittadella has been performing better away than at home, correct?
Yes, much better away. They're actually the 5th best away team in the league with 16 points.
Wow. But
5
is
wins.
Pisa going to be dropping points in the Arena Garibaldi?
Yeah, Pisa is the second best at home. They have not lost together with Spezia at home this season.
Wow.
So
They almost lost with us in the opening game of the season. We really threw away that game. I was there.
I will say this is probably Cittadella's toughest challenge of the year. Harder than going to Spezia, harder than going to Mappe Stadium against Sassuolo, because it was still very early in the season, and both teams were kind of still figuring out. And then Pisa in the return leg, that was the third match of the year, so it was still, like I said, early. This is, I think, the hardest challenge, at least hardest away trip of the year for Cittadella.
So how are you guys doing with players as far as recovery from injuries and yellow cards, red cards?
Yeah, okay, so I didn't actually cover this when we were talking about the situations, but Cittadella making some moves on the deadline day. Most notably, the big pickup was striker Davide Dio from Monza. He's a former Cittadella player. He played for Cittadella for 2 seasons 5-6 years ago, and most notably in the 1920 season, he scored 17 goals and 4 assists. So he was Cittadella's bomber in at the COVID season, really.
Welcome back, baby.
Yeah. So this was a big pickup. Now we got Dio Okonkwo up front, and as well as Riccardo Palmieri from Carrese. He's a midfielder as well. So we could see them being played. I mean, I don't know how well Dio's fitness is, so it could be a while before we see him. But that's kind of Lorenzo Cardisoni, left back. He will be missing the game to yellow card accumulation. So
got it.
Out, and as well as
How about the goalkeeper? Did you mention the goalkeeper? Is he back?
Still Maniero.
Okay. Well, he didn't. I mean, it wasn't bad at all. Actually, he did save what could have been the third goal for Spezia, stopping Lapadula. So he didn't. I liked him. Anyhow, I do hope you guys can at least draw, but unfortunately, being the situation that it is for Pisa, if they're not going to win, they're gonna have them win. So it's a 1 for me on this one, Jake. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean that's a fair. Pisa also, on the other hand, are missing Marin, who's suspended, as well as Torre, 2 midfielders. Pretty important midfielders, I gotta say. I'm just gonna confirm. So they're missing some players, but just am I really gonna like Cittadella winning away against Pisa? I mean, that would probably
be awesome.
Yeah, and this is obviously the Avtavolino Derby. This is the infamous 3-0 forfeited win earlier in the season, if you recall.
All right.
1-1, and then it gets overturned to 3-0 for fielding an ineligible player at the part of Cittadella, which has really had an effect on both seasons. Pisa really taking off from there. Cittadella was sinking before they recovered a little bit. But this has really fiery atmosphere. I think the Pisa supporters don't like Cittadella. The Cittadella supporters don't like Pisa. So
not even the presidents of the two teams like each other after the results of the situation, right?
No, Cittadella were really they didn't really take it well. The response for Pisa, they thought it was a very unprofessional reaction from Pisa. But anyhow, regardless of all this saying, Pisa are just, I think, too strong of a team for Cittadella to get any result from here. And, a draw would probably be a victory in this case for this game for Cittadella. But for saying this, I'm going to say 1 because I don't see Cittadella walking away with the result.
Got it. So we do agree. We hope well. We wish you well, but there isn't much trust in light of piece of performances. Mantova Sassuolo, you're up. I was trying to switch around the graphic, but if we place ourselves one way and one on the left and one on the right, then I notice that we cover the game that we are predicting, so it's not going to be easy to understand. Anyhow, Mantova Sassuolo.
Yeah, Mantova, we like to say, I think these are one of the teams with the highest possession in the league,
Right.
if I'm not mistaken. Probably, or something. Mantova,
I would agree, as far as I know, yes.
They love to take the ball, so this is an interesting game to predict. Sassuolo, they were able to keep a clean sheet, but they really had 2 goals disallowed. It's interesting because Mantova is better at home, but for this, I'm just going to say Sassuolo victory. So another 2 for me.
All right. I just hope that they're gonna drop some points, either Sassuolo or Pisa. Mantova started very well the championship. They were really launched being a newly promoted team. Now they're getting a sort of a reality check. They're sitting in 13th place with 28 points. They lost 2 games in the last 5, one being the most recent game. Then they drew 2 and won 1. I hope they can regain some momentum playing at home. And yeah, I would have agreed with you with the 2, because Sassuolo is just too much for so many of these, let's say, average team of the league. But you did highlight the fact that in order to win, they had to have 2 goals disallowed by Juve Stabia, for Juve Stabia, at the expenses of Juve Stabia. So they do concede a lot. And Mantova is a team, as you were highlighting, that they like to play. So it's going to be an open game. I think both teams are going to score. It's going to definitely be an over, as they say. And I do hope on a draw. So I'm going to predict an X.
All right. Something
different. The next game is Cosenza Carrarese. So Carrarese is dropping like a rock, we highlighted earlier, and Cosenza can't drop any further down because the Wolves are dead last right now, with a very uncomfortable situation, even as far as ownership and coach, which has been reconfirmed, as far as I know, just to contain cost, to contain the expenses. They wouldn't want to have to keep on paying Alvini and pay the coach who would go to replace them. So if there is an opportunity for Cosenza to relaunch themselves and keep them at least hoping that they can avoid the direct relegation, remembering that the Wolves never die, this is it. I mean, they're playing at home with Carrarese, which is a newly promoted team, and they're coming out of 4 straight consecutive losses in 5 games. So it's now or never for Cosenza. I do wish them well. I hope they can do it. I don't think they can do it, but I do hope, so I'm going to say 1.
Oh, wow. Yeah, well, I'd like to remind you that Cosenza has not won at home since mid-September, so it's been a really long time. These are two of the teams probably in the worst form right now in Serie B. Carrarese dropping in free fall, 4 straight losses. Cosenza haven't won a game in forever. So, this is they're playing in Cosenza where, the fans are just very angry at the ownership. They're just tired of this nonsense, like Antonio Palopoli told me. So this has a draw for me. I can't see either team winning this.
I understand. Yep, I understand. Just I would say that it doesn't do good to any of the teams, but you're right. There's such a bad shape that no one can have the best on the other. Sampdoria Modena, you're up.
So Sampdoria finally winning after a while. Modena is, one of those tricky teams, mid-table, but they are just difficult to play. They're actually just outside the relegation zone. Let me see, only 1 loss since losing in La Spezia back on November 2nd. I'm looking right here. However, just 4 of those were victories. So
For Modena, you were saying?
Yes, for Modena.
I'm telling you that they are a better team than it looks from their position. They are like 30 points, ninth place. They're there. Like in a couple of wins, they could be a couple of losses, and they could really fight for avoiding relegation. But this is Serie B. They are there. They are getting some momentum, I think. Go ahead.
Yeah. So they're like one of those teams where you always look at the table. They're always mid-table, but like they're just difficult to play against. So playing at the Marassi, Sampdoria finally maybe they're waking up to get that Simplice finally getting that win that was most needed. So I don't know how it. I think it's going to be an X because I don't know if Sampdoria can win once again. They're playing a more better team, let's say, in respect to Cosenza and Modena. I don't know if they could lose again, but yeah. Modena is another team that loves to draw. Let's
Right.
They have 12 draws this year.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but Sampdoria didn't just win, although they were facing Cosenza, that, as far as I know, they hit a couple of posts as well, but they were also one man short. Like they were playing 10 against 11, right?
For majority of the game, yes.
Yeah. So that's a double, it's an important win. It's not only the win. So maybe it's the beginning of something for Sampdoria, but Modena is in good shape, and I don't want them to lose. Since then, we're going to Modena. Since then, Spezia is going to Modena. So, but that's, beside the point. So, Sampdoria, Modena, I'm going to agree with you. I think that they're going to draw. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry for our game, but I agree with your prediction.
Okay.
Reggiana, Cesena. So Reggiana, we were saying that is in good shape right before in the previous episode, and then they did lose the most recent game. So difficult. So ups and downs, so many teams. Why did we decide to predict games? They did lose with Südtirol in extraordinary shape. Südtirol lately. So wow. Anyhow, Reggiana, Cesena. Cesena is in 10th place. 30 points, as we said, together with Palermo and Modena, and they did lose 2 games, lost the most recent one, draw 2 and won 1. How about another X? It's an X for me on this one.
Yeah, Cesena is like they're one of the worst teams on the road. Only 8 points from their 12 away games. That's only 2 away wins, and they have not been in the greatest of form as of late. That only 1 victory or 2 victories since the November international break. So they are still kind of struggling a little bit, maybe running out of steam. I'm actually going to predict a 1 in this. I think Reggiana playing at home against, like we said, Cesena, who have not been great on the road. I think it's going to be a 1.
All right. Yeah. Cremonese, Südtirol. You're up.
I'm up. Yeah. Cremonese, it's I have no idea what's going to expect. I mean, it's just it must be so frustrating because they have a great squad. They have a coach that knows how to. He got Crotone promoted. He got Monza promoted. So he knows how to get it there, but just I can't trust them. And if they were if they're in the playoffs, I don't know how confident I'd be in tipping them to go up. So this is another game where they're expected to win against the Südtirol team in the relegation zones. But will they win? I don't know, because Südtirol has been playing, like we said, much better since the turn of the new year. Only 1 loss, and that loss was against Sassuolo, where they scored 3 goals away, and were winning for some of that game. So Südtirol, 5 goals in the last 2 games, 0 conceded against Cremonese, where who knows what's going to happen. So for this, I'm going to predict an X because I can't trust Cremonese, and I think Südtirol is much better than their positions. Or, I think they are kind of on the rise.
Got it. I follow your thought process. Cremonese has to keep the championship alive. They just lost. They're not going to win. They're not going to lose with Südtirol. I mean, I understand Südtirol is in good shape. I said it earlier myself. 2 consecutive wins. They do come out of a loss before these 2 consecutive wins. But yeah, no, it's a 1 for me on this one. We'll see what happens. The next game is Spezia Palermo. Hey, how can I predict Eagles versus the Eagles? Let's remember that in Palermo, Spezia lost, and that was the first loss for Spezia in the championship this season. And then they only have another loss that they collected in Bari, with Bari, the worst performance of the Eagles this season. So in Spezia, I think that they want to have a sort of a rematch. And Palermo did sign up some important players, such as Poyampalo from Venezia. We talked about it in the previous episode of Speaking Serie B. But I don't know how acclimated, is that you say, it is to the team. So we'll see what's going to happen. And I think that the D'Angelo's guys have learned a valid lesson in Palermo, where when they've been outperformed physically by the Palermo squad. So I'm confident that we're going to have a solid performance, and I do hope for a win. So we are undefeated at home, and I hope we can win this one. So it's a 1 for me. The White Eagles are going to defeat the pink and black ones. Go ahead, Jake.
Yeah, Palermo is another team kind of similar to Cremonese, where I can't trust, because it could go really either way. They're either winning games, they're either losing games. They've lost 2 straight games to Pisa and Reggiana. And, like we said, they have a great squad, and they just signed Poyampalo, which is, a lethal goal scorer. And as we saw in Venezia, those 2
We
seasons.
do have Lapadula, so let's not forget that, though.
That's true. Yes. And, it's one of those teams where, like, I don't know what's going to happen, and if they have really any chance of going to Serie A. Palermo, it has to be through the playoffs, which could not even happen if Spezia continues to pull away. I still think Spezia will win this game, so it'll be a 1 for me. I think they just too good at home, and they will be missing Bandinelli, if I'm correct, for a yellow card. And, but we'll see what happens with Poyampalo. I think he could definitely play in this game, but I think Spezia will just win this game. Maybe like 1-0.
As he did play
last year.
As he did play last season in Spezia, the last game of the season, and we were able to stop him well. So we'll see. Lapadula did not score in Cittadella. They did have the press conference to present the player. He's mad. He's not angry, but he's really hungry. Like, he wanted to score. He's mad at himself. So I hope he can, transfer this willingness onto the pitch. Anyhow, let's end with the last prediction. Juve Stabia Bari, you're up.
Interesting game. 2 teams inside the top 7, or they're tied on points. So this is kind of like a playoff 6-pointer, even though there's still a lot of season to go. And I don't know how, like of a staple they are inside the playoffs compared to, Cremonese, who, are going to be there. But yeah, regardless, besides Spezia and Cremonese, I don't think there is really any teams that are going to be for certain in the playoffs. There's still quite a toss-up. Catanzaro could definitely be there. They are drawing a lot of games, though. You could say Palermo, maybe. You never know with their current form. Cesena, are they going to wake up? So this is interesting. This was the first game of the season for both teams. Juve Stabia winning in Bari pretty convincingly too. So, man, this is another this is another thing where I don't know what's going to happen. I really don't know. Because I could really see this going either way. I'm going to predict a 1 for this. I don't. Bari hasn't lost in a while, but I think their unbeaten run will come to an end in Castelmari di Stabia.
All right. So sorry, I already pushed it, but I was removing things in the background. So your prediction again is
1.
1. So Juve Stabia winning with Bari. I predicted so many X's already, and I did not predict any 2. Yeah, so not for this is a valid reason to predict the 2. But yeah, this game could go either way. Look, just because I think that Palermo is going to lose with Spezia in Spezia, and is not going to lose touch with the playoff spots. I don't think Juve Stabia is going to be able, although it is an open situation, as you mentioned. I'm sorry, it's yet another X for me.
Wow, so no away wins for you this round.
Yeah, I highly doubt that I'm going to score 6 points on this one, but these are my guess in light of all the speculations we've been making. So
there was, if you remember earlier this season, there was one match day where like 9 of the 10 games ended in a draw and an X. That was.
I remember we did point it out during the week episode, and I did point it out to you in our private conversation. I do remember. You're right.
Yeah,
I don't know which round it was, but I know that there was one. Anyhow,
yeah.
These are our predictions for the 25th round. We do encourage you to participate to our next live next Wednesday, always at 7 p.m. CET, to find out how many points we scored and to hear our impressions about the ended game of Serie B League. So, Jake, wrap it up, and we'll see you next week.
Yes, thank you, Elia, for once again another great episode. It's love talking about Serie B, whether it's Cittadella losing, Spezia winning, doesn't matter. It's a great league to cover, very fun league to cover.
Yeah, very fun, exactly.
But for me, you could follow, once again, Città Calcio USA, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and cittacalciousa.com. You could find the match articles, all that stuff, transfer news, cittacalciousa.com. And we will see you next Wednesday at the same time, and we will be speaking Serie B.